Hi guys, it's Ebird Online again, and I'm back with another review for 90 Day Fiance. I did actually leave my bed for the first day, so I'm getting better definitely. And so I thought I'd give you my review on the wedding of Robert and Anny. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and also don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Ebird99. And also if you like what you hear, press the thumbs up and like the video. So it's Robert and Anny's big day. And first up we see Anny, and she says she's very happy because today is her wedding day, and she genuinely does look really excited. Her friend Naomi's there, and she's happy that she's got somebody with her because her family can't attend, and Naomi's going to be doing her makeup and her hair and generally calming Anny's nerves. Calming Anny's nerves, you say? Hopefully this friend Naomi is a registered pharmacist and can legally prescribe Anny morphine, because she is of course marrying Robert. And next we go to Robert, and thankfully he's getting his hair done too, and instead of putting his hair back in his usual ponytail, he's getting it cane road. And whilst he's getting that done, we treated to the theory of Robert on marriage. He says he's never been married, and his idea of marriage is when you actually get married you stay together forever, no divorce whatsoever. And I say this, Robert, perhaps you should have thought about getting married to one of the women that you had kids with. That way you probably wouldn't have kids dotted all over America. And cute little Bryson comes running in, and he's got his hair cane road too. And Robert looks at him and says, "Oh, he looks so cute. Bryson's a mini version of me." Robert, you wish you looked as good as Bryson. Bryson's a bona fide absolute beauty. In your dreams you look as good as Bryson. And so Robert and Bryson and a couple of family members all get into the wedding car, and they're on the way to the chapel. And we can see by what everyone's wearing that the dress code is red, black and white. And it's quite an interesting colour code for a wedding, but I guess at least they've got a theme and they're taking it somewhat seriously. And Robert said to the person who was driving him, "What would you say if I said, turn the car around now, I want to go?" What would you say if you decided not to get married after all of this rigmarole, Robert? Here's what I'd say. Do not look a gift horse in the mouth. You went shopping in the DR for a wife that you found attractive, for a nanny that you found attractive, for a life partner, and you found it in Anny. What are the chances of you doing any better if you did decide to turn around and go back? What would be the chances of you finding any better than Anny? I would say to you, slim to none. Robert, the world has seen you and your shady ways on this show, and I think your name would be mud out here on these streets. And also, good luck, Robert, in explaining the whole situation to Bryson. So I always say this, my subscribers are so funny, and they always make the most intelligent of points. And one of my subscribers this week, KSA Nurse, said, "Robert is very, very smart. He only spent one day with Anny, or she would have worked him out. He's dishonest and devious, and all the crap he's doing frees him up with a free babysitter, a cook, a house cleaner, and so on. He's very smart. He spent an absolute minimal cost, and if Anny hangs around until she gets a green card, he's still done everything for a minimal spend." And when you put it like that, I couldn't agree any more. Even if Anny only hangs around for 2 years, he's still managed to get 2.5 years of free babysitting out of Anny, not to mention anything else. Very good point, KSA Nurse. Very good point. And one you do well to consider, Robert. And it always kind of irritates me when Robert's acting as if he's somehow hard done by. Robert, you were the one looking for this. This is what you wanted. You proposed to her after 8 hours, not the other way round. So Robert's always pretending, "I think I've got red flags," and I'm not sure. Robert, you're very sure. This really is the best you're gonna get. Robert, you're saying you have red flags about Anny. You have 5 kids with 4 different women. You have a ponytail. You have a 1-bedroom apartment with no bed for your child, and in your producer chat you wear a yellow shirt that can remember the 1980s. How dare you say that you're having second thought? The audacity of the man. And so next time we catch up with this couple, they're at the chapel, and it looks like a very nice place they're getting married in. And begrudgingly I have to say well done Robert, because he seemed to have pulled together quite a decent wedding on a budget. But Robert still says he's having second thoughts. And for this whole season watching Robert, I was even surprised he had any thoughts. I didn't know what was running through that brain of his. So if he's having second thoughts, at least we know his brain does actually work. And we go back to Anny, and she looks beautiful and she looks really happy, and she's wearing her dress, and even though it wasn't the most expensive of dresses, she still does look very good in it. And the whole wedding is an actual proper wedding, and not just a rushed courthouse wedding that Robert said he was going to do. Robert must have at least put his hand in his pocket. Well, I guess he could have put his hand in someone else's pocket, but somehow he's coughed up for the princess wedding that Anny had always dreamed of. And Robert, I want to take this time to say, credit where credit's due. Anny told you she wanted a nice wedding, and she wanted a proper dress, and she wanted to have nice photographs and a nice venue, and she has all of that. And so we go into the chapel, and Bryson is front and centre. He walks Anny into the chapel, and as Anny and Robert stand there waiting to say their vows, the wedding officiant says, if anybody has a problem with this wedding, state your problem now or forever hold your peace. And Robert pipes up and he says, I can't do this right now. If not now, Robert, when? But of course it was all a TLC inspired teaser from last week. Robert then drops to his knee and gives Anny her engagement ring. Don't worry, Anny, it's only 8 months late. But it was actually a beautiful moment, and Anny was really happy. And Robert said to her, I'm going to love you until the day I leave this earth. And Anny said, thank you so much for believing in me, and credit where credit's due, he did make Anny feel like a princess. And nobody, literally nobody loves to cuss Robert like I love to cuss Robert, but today he did good. And then the couple say their vows. I noticed that Robert's brother is in attendance and all of his family, but somebody's missing. Oh yep, it's Porno Granny and Porno Grandpops. She wasn't invited as her hair would have clashed with the colour scheme, and her attitude would have clashed with the good nature of the day. And at the conclusion of what was, in the end, a beautiful ceremony, Bryson said, my dad is very happy, and I can see by the look on Bryson's face, he's very happy as well. And Anny says at the end of the wedding, we want to have another 5 kids. Robert looks very worried by this, and I can see he's wondering how an Uber salary will stretch to 10 children. Who knows, maybe Porno Granny will lend you some money. So guys, please don't think that the flu has made the Ebird take leave of her senses, but I'm going to say something now which may shock many of you. From all the couples that have been married so far, I'm rooting for Anny and Robert. Say what? Yes, I'm rooting for them. They've gotten married now. I want them to win. Obviously none of us know what's in Robert's mind, what's in Anny's mind, how Robert will behave, how Anny will behave. All of these things are, as we know, up in the air. But I want this relationship to work, and I want this marriage to work for the following reasons. So the first thing is because Bryson absolutely loves Anny and Anny loves Bryson. And it seems to me that he's had quite a tumultuous childhood. And if we all remember back to the first time we saw Bryson, he seemed like a little wild child. He was running around at the airport. He was punching his dad in the head. He was saying, I want to fight you. He was jumping on Anny's shoulders. And as we've gone through the season, I've seen him become more and more calm and much better behaved, and I honestly believe that that's Anny's influence on him. As a single parent, I know it's very, very difficult to look after a child on your own, and so Anny has time to discipline him and I think make sure that he behaves properly. And I definitely see a change in him. Maybe it's editing, who knows with these producers, but I absolutely love the relationship between Bryson and Anny, and I think this relationship has surprised even Anny. The second reason is quite a strange one, but I think in Robert searching the DR for a wife, which is what I think he did, it shows that he was taking fatherhood seriously. He knows for whatever reason, for the long term, that child is going to be with him, and I think he wanted to create a proper family unit for Bryson. Obviously he's been judged and people have said he wants a babysitter and a housemaid and a cook and a nanny and a cleaner. But let's all think seriously. I'm sure most people at this point know a single father. What usually happens when a father is single? Because they're the main breadwinner and they have to go to work, very, very often they are looking for a partner. They are looking for a mother figure for their children. And without being too derogatory to Robert, because he did provide Anny with the wedding that she wanted, Robert doesn't have that much money. So it would have always been difficult for Robert to find somebody like Anny in the States, because they would have expected as much as Anny, if not more. So whilst I think it was calculated on his part to try and find somebody from the DR, I do think even though he wanted it for himself, he also wanted someone for Bryson as well. Also over the season, I think they've been through the most up and downs. Now we've seen lots of these fake up and downs, such as people allegedly returning to Turkey and coming back again, or throwing somebody's food in the bin. You know, these micro ups and downs, but I feel as if Anny and Robert storyline has been two different minds trying to meet in the middle and trying to work out what's acceptable and what isn't acceptable. And it seems as if they've come to some sort of understanding. And it's something that I think is not easy to do, because I think they're both such fiery, strong and stubborn characters. Also, Anny seems very family oriented. If you notice, when she went to meet family members of Robert's, she always wanted to get on with them. And I said it to you guys before, if somebody attacks Anny, she's attacking you right back. And you're not going to get away with anything with this girl. But I think if you met her with kindness, she was kind back. Unfortunately for her, she was met with a lot of prejudice immediately. And I think everybody always put the blame on Anny. You just wanted a green card. Yeah, of course she did. But he just wanted an Anny. Come on, guys. But I think where she could, she wanted to pull the family together. And I honestly think her love for Bryson is 100% genuine. Also, I think these two together need each other so that they can create a strong and stable financial base for Bryson. They can't live in a one-bedroom flat for much longer. They both need to be working. They need to pull in 2 wages so they can get a 2-bedroom apartment, or perhaps even buy, and let Bryson have his own space. It's always been shocking to me that Bryson sleeps in a bed between Anny and Robert, and I think it can just be no good for Bryson. And I think the sooner that situation be sorted, the better off he'll be. And I actually think for some reason Anny's going to be a worker, and I think that she's going to want to work for the things that she wants, whether it's clothes or a nice apartment or nice things for Bryson. I do actually think that Anny's a go-getter. But the main thing is, I think the main reason that I'm rooting for these two is I actually do believe now that they have fallen in love with each other. Were they in love before? No, of course not. You can't be in love after one day and a few phone calls. You have to spend night and day together for 3 months, which they've done. But Anny's now talking about having 5 kids. And realistically, if she was planning on jogging him on after the 2 years, just so that she still had a green card, she wouldn't need to even mention that. She could say, well, we're going to wait a couple of years, wait until we've got an apartment and some more money, and then we'll think about having kids. She's talking about starting right away, and I just don't think that she would bother to do that if she were not in it for the long haul. Also, I think she's seen sides of Robert that we sort of saw when we first met Robert, and that's how Robert cares for Bryson and how Robert feels about Bryson. And I think that draws Anny to Robert. And I think that Robert has been flawed because he knew that Anny was going to act as a mum to Bryson, i.e. as a nanny. But the way that Bryson has taken to her, I think has surprised him and really made him look at Anny through fresh eyes. Kids see everything. And if somebody's no good, they usually don't really bond that quickly. It seemed like it was absolutely seamless. And so yeah, I kind of think it's genuine as things get when you're talking about a transactional relationship. Can people grow to love each other? So yes, guys, I'm rooting for them. So let me know what you guys think. Are you rooting for Anny and Robert? Let's try and put aside the fact of if we like Robert or if we like Anny, and just really focus on if we think it could be a relationship that could work. And let me know what you guys think. Disclaimer. Ebird may be chatting rubbish due to influenza medication. This whole video may be rendered null and void due to cabin fever. Very possibly next week normal service will be resumed and Robert will continue to be public enemy number 1, right behind coronavirus. Guys, thanks for all your best wishes. I'm totally on the mend now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Press that red button for regular content. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.